About 3 years ago, me and my family moved into a house. I still live in it. My parents and siblings sleep in the rooms while I sleep in the living room. The landlord showed us around. 2 months later, on a Saturday morning, the landlord returned to see how the house looked. I was playing GTA Online on the couch. After he'd done talking with my parents, he sat down next to me, watching me play. We chatted for a bit until he asked me a very odd question. The landlord asked, "Do you like scary stories?" It wasn't awkward or anything since we were having a conversation, but it wasn't related to what we'd been talking about. I said, "I do. I like horror and all that stuff." He told me a long story, which I remember entirely, about how he stayed at his mother's house and at 3:33 a.m., a woman in a black wedding dress tormented him. He never returned there. I listened to his story, but since I was playing my game, I didn't bother about it too much. Later that evening, it was around 12 a.m., and I was on the couch watching YouTube. As I checked the time, I began to realize how late it was getting. I promised myself just a few more videos. It was 1 a.m., and I began thinking of that story the landlord told me. I couldn't forget it. As the time reached 2 a.m., I started getting anxiety. I really had to sleep now, but I just couldn't stop thinking about this woman in a black wedding dress. The time hit 3 a.m. I started panicking. The kitchen and living room are connected, and the kitchen branches off into a little room that we use as the laundry room. As I'm worrying the whole time, finally, it hit 3:33 a.m. I heard a loud thud come from the laundry room. As I looked into the kitchen, I saw it. A tall black figure wearing a black wedding dress, a veil with diamond-shaped cuts at the end covering its face, walking into the kitchen at the end. It turned to me. It started gliding more than walking per se as it came towards me. It made a croaking sound like the Grudge. I started fearing for my life. I couldn't do anything about it. I hid under my blanket as it stood right next to me, croaking, and then it was gone. I checked the time. 4 a.m. That Sunday morning, I didn't want to sleep during the day, so I drank an energy drink, a Rain specifically, since it has 300 milligrams of caffeine, which is more than most energy drinks. I had to stay up so I could finally sleep and never see it again. When it was 12 a.m., I tried my best to sleep, but I couldn't. I went back on YouTube and watched videos. Every time it got closer to 3:33 a.m., I just put my phone down and closed my eyes. It felt like hours had passed, but the time showed only a couple minutes. I just couldn't sleep. When the clock hit 3:33 a.m., a loud thud happened again in the laundry room. As I watched the kitchen, I just started crying. A tall woman in a black wedding dress croaking was coming at me again. I hid under my blankets, sobbing as this demon stood next to me, croaking. Then it was over. It had only felt like a minute had passed, but it was 4 a.m. How can something so terrifying that felt like a couple moments be almost half an hour? It was Monday morning, and I had to go to school. I drank 2 Rains. I really didn't want to sleep during the day or at school. During school, my friends saw how dark my eyes were, how drained I was, and so exhausted. I told them everything was fine and not to worry. After all, who would believe someone who looks like they've drunk 10 beers saying they saw a woman in a black wedding dress haunt them at night? As the day went on, it was time to sleep. I had my phone next to me. It was 11 p.m. I simply lay down and tried my best to sleep. I never did get any sleep. The time raced to 3:33 a.m. and I was stressing more than ever. The clock read 3:32 a.m. As I watched the minutes hit 3:33 a.m., I instantly heard, not a thud this time, but something in the laundry room, as if it had been thrown violently. As I watched, just breaking down crying, tears pouring down my face, I saw it. The woman in black. Only this time the veil wasn't covering its face. I saw what the entity really was. The window in the kitchen, just barely illuminated by a streetlight, showed what I was staring at. As it walked by, I saw every feature this thing had on its body. Its skin was dark grey and ashy, as if it had been burned all over. Its eyes cloudy and grey, sunk far back into its skull. Patches of grey hair all over its scalped head. Teeth spaced far apart, disgusting, rotten and brown. Its fingers like those of a starved person, long and skinny, with sharp nails. Its lips looked as if they had been ripped off. I was hiding under my blanket, but this time this creature didn't stand next to me. It climbed on top of me, croaking in my face, only separated by the blanket. Its weight was so heavy I couldn't even breathe. It smelled foul. If I could describe the smell of death, it would be vomit, shit, piss, and flesh left to rot, then charred over a 500-degree grill. That's what this dark spirit smelled of. Unlike the other two experiences, which felt like a minute, this felt like an eternity. I kept praying it would go away, as my tears covered my mouth, and this monster crushed me. I thought I was going to die. Finally, I saw a light, and it instantly got off of me and went away. I felt free. I got up and checked the time. It was exactly 6 a.m. Then I passed out and woke up 2 hours later to go to school. It was Tuesday. I may have only gotten 2 hours, but it was all I needed to get through the day.